Well, good day, and thanks for coming along with today's flight. It looks like pretty good weather, scattered clouds, light wind from the west. You can see here on the windsock coming from the west. So where are we flying today? Well, we're flying from Pitt, Meadows, British Columbia, down to Victoria, British Columbia. Let me just show you on the map here. Here's Pitt, Meadows. Roughly take this line here to Vancouver Harbor. We'll look at the downtown, look at the harbor, head south to Vancouver Airport, fly over the airport, then take a line down to the NDB, Alpha Papa, and from there down to Victoria. We'll probably head to YJ NDB, and the winds in Victoria are from the west also. So we'll head east, south, and then back west to head into Victoria. And you can see here, this is where we are sitting at Pitt Meadows. So when we start up, we're going to taxi down here, cross Alpha, and we'll then get on to 26 left and head straight out. So today we're flying Cessna 172. It's in our orange livery, and you can see the registration is Charlie Sierra Golf Mike. We won't be flying with ATC today, but we will have the traffic on. So any traffic that you see in the air, whether it's a small general aviation plane like this, or if it's a jet, it's actually happening in real time. So let's get in and go through our checklist, start her up, and get going. Okay, so let's turn the power on and the avionics on. Just like to do this in the beginning and get everything set the way I like it. Everybody a little different how they like it. PDF here. I like to show the winds back. We're already on that CDI, which I like.
Test.
Okay. I just see here. We've got those set, those references, speed references. Transponder. We are on 1200 and standby, and we're going to go to on. And let's go back. I think today we're going to fly at 2,500 feet for most of the flight, not all of it. And let's set the vertical speed up to 74, which I actually got from here. VY, best climb altitude, is 74 knots. So that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to turn the avionics off and start going through the checklist. So fuel selector is both, mixture is rich. Let's push that in. Always like to double check the throttle and pull that back. That's great. Open the throttle about 1/4 of an inch, give or take. Let's turn the beacon light on. Brakes are set. And what we can do then is get a push back. So we're going to just signal, I think it's a gentleman. Tough to tell from the back, but that, yes, it is. We just want to push back. We do that before we start because I don't want that blade running. I'm going to take the parking offset, and let's have a look to see what he's doing. This is an early morning flight. Go in here and look. You can see it's 9:01 local time. And there's the red light beacon going. It's funny how Flight Sim has done this. However, there we go. That's better. So we'll just push back. Okay, get him to stop. There we go. Okay, so I want to set the parking brake. Okay, so to start, we want to prime the fuel. 3, 4, 5. Turn that off. Make sure the avionics is off. Prop is clear. No one around. And we can now start. Here we go. Throttle is there. So I'm going to pull that back just to get to an idle. And we don't want to start the plane with the full avionics on because it could actually ruin the avionics. So we want to keep it revving about there. Check the oil pressure. It's good. It's in the green. So we're going. Turn the avionics on. There we go. And this side is the moving mat. So we're here. Going to turn right, up alpha, on to 26 left, head straight out for downtown. Now the flaps need to be up. We don't need any flaps to take off. The altimeter is set at 2992, which is standard. Transponder, I believe we set it on. On, it's good. We set that. Elevator trim is here. Let's just lean down and see. Neutral. I'm going to put it down just a touch. There we are. That's neutral. And no flaps. Okay, let's take the... Oh, sun's coming out. Parking brake off. Let's check the controls. Rudder left. Rudder right. Elevator full forward down. Elevator up. Ailerons left. Ailerons right. And just so you can see here, I take the yokes off just so I can get this at these panels and see them. Okay, so we are ready to start going. Left and right, are we there? We need our taxi light and nav light before we head out. And we'll go turn to the right. Nice little beach banana. It's a bonanza, not a banana. Bonanza there. Taxi line. Now I'm going to hold just a little bit before the actual hold line because I want to do a run up. Run up, make sure that the engine is working properly. I missed the taxi there. So we'll just put it here. We should put it a little bit into the wind. So we'll go like that. Okay, set the parking brake. And I'm going to set the throttle up to about 1800 RPM. Doesn't have to be exact. Good enough. Now this number should not drop by more than 150 when I turn the magnetos. Nope. And turn it one more time to the left or right. That's fine. And back to both. And everything's fine. So we can bring the RPMs down. Let's straighten her out. Now with a ATC, I would be looking and contacting ATC, but we're not doing that today. But because we do have the live traffic, let me just see if I can change that view. We have the live traffic. I want to look to make sure there are no planes coming. There aren't. So we're going to go landing lights on, taxi lights off, strobe off. And a little bit of power. Okay, we're ready to go. Throttle throw forward slightly and slowly. There we go. Okay, rotate is coming up. Rotate. And positive rate of climb. Now we're going to try to keep this climbing at along the Y. Excuse me. Climbing a little too steeply. I will soon put it on the autopilot. Excuse me again. Interesting that this insert came back up. Let's turn the transponder on, insert off. So I want to go to the right, use the heading bug. See, that's the lights of Vancouver Airport there. Maybe not that far. Let's just try west 270. Clouds look like they hold rain. Yeah, it looks like somebody has a pool right there. I want to put that NDB marker up. So when we actually get it, we will see an arrow come up pointing directly at it. I'm going to put a signal on here. So when we do capture the NDB, we'll get a audio signal. Nice switchback road up the mountain. So we are flying what's known as VFR, which is Visual Flight Rule. We have to have certain visual clearance in statute miles looking around us, cloud deck, and being away from the cloud deck. But we will be using our instruments also. So it's not an instrument flight route, but we will use our instruments. I'm going to pull the power back. We're at cruise altitude. So I just want this around 2500. Yeah, great. I don't have to play with the mixture today because we're not going above 3,000 feet. So I don't have to lean the mixture. Just leave it right where it is. And I can turn off the landing lights. All other lights stay on. Baseball field. There. And downtown coming into view. Interesting. One drawback is you can't have both views where you look out over the nose, which is what you should have, and see out very well. But if we go like this, so we're not looking over the nose, we get a further view. I do like these VFR flights for the sightseeing. It's another reason why you use autopilot. You monitor all the systems, but it allows you to look around. Let's go to the north just a little. Get a better view of downtown of my window. Bridge there. The Vancouver airport. Those lights are indicating where the runway is. cruise line terminal. So if you're from here, you should recognize many of the roads, the buildings of downtown, the mountains, etc. It's kind of neat. It's a nice view of downtown. Cruise ship. Okay, so let's start heading south to the Vancouver airport. Stanley Park. Not sure if that's BC Place or not. Sure looks like it. Where BC Lions play. Could be where the Canucks play. Not sure. I actually thought it was further from downtown, but I could be wrong. A little bumpy. Recognize the little pond down there, or wading pool, or lake, whatever it is. Quite some traffic out in the streets early this morning. And Vancouver Airport right in front of us. And I don't see any planes coming in. They would actually get them on the moving map also. Terminal. Just want to check sky vector. Get off that map. We can see here's the moving map where we are. Heading right to the airport. I see sky vector to go from the airport down to Alpha Papa, 175 degrees. So their terminal is here. Should be some planes, at least at the gates. And I will keep checking to make sure that there aren't any planes coming in, but because we're 2,500 feet and directly over the airport, we should be fine. A plane sitting there, right there. and everywhere. If you lined up here, here's the runway. And these, if I can just see those are the lights that we were seeing flashing earlier. Control tower. Okay, let's turn 175. Now let's just make sure we have to. Let's go back. Which I didn't turn it on. 378. No, I didn't. Enter. And there we are. Picked up 378. The arrow is there. And I can just barely hear the audible tone, but it's there. So we've got to go a little bit east to go to 378. I'm going to put in the next NDB after 378, which is Yankee Juliet 200. Here we go. Don't want to do anything with that. We will once we pass over it. It being the Alpha Papa NDB, we'll switch to the Yankee Juliet to switch the frequencies. Now I know we're coming into 27 at Victoria, and I've already got it here, so I want to put in the frequency. And here is, just zoom in, the NDB we're going to be heading to, Yankee Juliet, going right into that runway 27. So 109.95 is what we've got to tune. Do that now. Move it to the active. When it picks it up, this will light up and it will show us CYYJ. And that way we know we've got the right frequency tuned in. We're too far away. We're 29.5 nautical miles from the airport, so a little bit too far to pick up information yet. That's fairly smooth today. Been up here some days and lots of turbulence, very bumpy ride. Actually doesn't make for a very pleasant ride, but today, not too bad. Vancouver Island is looking nice. So we're going to use the instruments to go in, and at some point, well, I'll let the instruments fly the approach, and at some point we'll take it off the instruments and I'll hand fly it in. And again, as I mentioned, we're not on ATC. As we move down, we would change from ATC controller to ATC controller, all the way down to Victoria. At some point we would get onto tower, and they would give us the instructions on landing. Now if the weather did turn bad, we could quickly turn this into an IFR flight. In essence, I am flying IFR. I am rated to fly IFR, instrument flight rules, but right now we're still VFR because the minimum criteria for visibility is okay. We could be flying in clouds right now, and everything would be fine. I'd still be flying the plane as I do now. So let's just check over here, run system, RPM, fuel flow is fine, oil pressure, no temp to the green, exhaust gas temp is fine, back is fine, lots of fuel, and the buses are fine. I like to run those checks. It's like driving. You're looking ahead, and you check your left mirror, your rear view mirror in the car, and your right mirror. You check your visual scan of your dashboards. That's what we're doing here. I'm always looking down at these instruments. I'm looking down at the speed tape here. I'm looking down here for our heading, any general information that I need to know. And this is our altitude. This is the current altitude that I've tuned into autopilot. Down here is the altimeter, and that gives the pressure. And as that changes, it changes the altitude that we're at. So under 18,000 feet, we must keep changing that as we hear from each controller. Above 18,000 feet, we keep it at tune 992. But we don't below. It just so happens today we're right at average reading setting in the whole area, so we don't have to change it at all. But if we were heading down here and it changed, see, it's a little higher pressure in Victoria, and say 2994, I would come in and use this button here to actually change this, and that way we would always be flying at 2,500 feet. So you can see we're a little bit to the left now, so I'm going to go back to the right. Partly we're to the left because the winds are from 270 at 5 knots, just giving us a gentle little push east. So I'm going to go a little bit to the right, and you can see over here there's Alpha Papa where we're heading to. Let's just look back at SkyVector, which is where we get all the charts, and there we are there on the live moving map. So just to recap, we started here, flew up to the harbor, over the airport, and now we're flying down to Alpha Papa and then down to Julia. And the chart has us 181 degrees going down to Victoria, but let's just put in Yankee Juliet as a waypoint, and it should come up with the course that we have to fly, and it's not. That's okay. Once we pass Alpha Papa, I'll just tune in Yankee Juliet and head towards it. Now this magenta arrow here is telling me I'm to the right of a line, and the line happens to be, zoom out here, just a line that's drawn from Pitt Meadows down to Victoria. If I had a flight plan with a lot of waypoints, this magenta line would actually follow the waypoints. So it would have looked, for today's flight, more of what it looks like for SkyVector. And we could have just followed that right along using the autopilot. So it's just telling me that if I want to get back on that line, I've got to keep on going to the left. Now you'll see this turn, this arrow, we're almost there. going to zoom this in. 50-mile range is a little much. 20. We're almost there. And when we are there, we will go over. So since we are almost there, I'm going to change the NDB now. Move the 200 to that side and enter. Oh, moved it back. Enter. There we are. And you can see we've tuned the ADF 200. It's almost dead ahead of us. And what we can do, if the audible sound, don't know if you'll hear it or not. You can just barely hear it. I can hear it, but barely in my headphones. It is actually beeping out the Morse code, which is this Morse code here. So dash dot dash dash dot dash dash dash. So if we wanted to confirm that this is the NDB we've tuned in, we'd look here and confirm that that is the Morse code being used. I'm just going to switch my CDI to localizer 1. Go to the right just a little. Now, localizer 1 is our frequency for landing in Victoria. It's the ILS. And you see it automatically tune the heading, and we've got to move towards it. So we get about 5 miles from Victoria Airport, which I believe is just down in here. I'm going to turn left, run parallel to this line, and then go to the right, south, and then go to, which is the base leg. So actually I'm going to go downwind leg, base leg, and then final. So let's look at the chart, see what our altitude should be. Pull up the chart. Here we are. This is a procedure turn. We're not doing that. This has you coming in all the way down to Yankee Juliet, turning east, and then doing this little button hook, and then back in. We're coming down this way, then east, south on the base leg, and then turn back west on final. So we're going to go down to 2,300 feet, which is where we need to be to capture the glide slope. So let's just do that. Set this at, that's 1,000. We don't want to do that. Go down to 2,300 feet. Vertical speed, let's go down at that rate, which isn't too much. 400, which is good. It'll put the speed up a little bit. But well within parameters. We're not going to get into the yellow line here. Let's just look here. Bearing 1, and you can see CYYJ has been tuned in. CYYJ, we're 8.2 miles out. I like to know that. And this little arrow is actually pointing right to the runway. And you remember, just by looking here, the NDB is just off the runway, which is why the two don't line up. Now another piece that's coming into here is the glide slope. This is for the localizer, this is for the glide slope, and that tells you how high or low you should be. You want to run this perfectly in there when you're on approach, and we will do that. I'll just put the nose down here. Oh, tough to see the airport today. right here. This is the airport here. It's tough to see the east-west runway. That's where we're going to be going. Not this way, this way. So at 5 miles, we're going to turn left 90 degrees. And 5.4, good enough. You can see the speed bug moving here. The indicator, sorry, not speed bug, the heading indicator. Now what I'm going to do, see we're above the glide slope. I'm going to wait for that green dot to move up above us. Then I'm going to turn right on our base leg. And when I get this line lined up, we're going to turn right into our final. And you can see here, we've made that turn to the east. Now do we show up? And there we are on the moving map. So we have two ways here to see it. The bigger map, which I can zoom in here. We have the bigger map, or we have the smaller. And you can see here, since we're not in the range of the airport, we don't show up. And while I'm doing all this on my laptop, if we were in a real plane, I'd have a tablet and be on a mount, and I'd be looking at the same charts. So that's the US right in front of us. And you can see here the NDB where it's pointing to, behind us, the runway behind us. NDBs do not have mileage with them. If we were tuned to a VOR, it would have mileage with us. So it's just a different type of navigation. So you can see here, glide slope, it's coming up. Let's show this on the map here. Here's these islands here are the islands here. I like to have it up a little bit more before I make my turn to base. You want to look to the left. Okay. Now we want to go 90 degrees. And in this case, we want to go to the south. So what I'm seeing here, this is my actual heading. This is the heading of my bug, my heading indicator. This is the course, remember that magenta line that we would have to go to actually get to Victoria Airport. The airport's down in here. Now hopefully this will capture. I'm going to put it on approach mode on. We're going to turn just a little bit more so we're not at a 90-degree turn. Now what should happen is the flight management system should pick up the localizer, turn us, and start descending when the green bug gets into the center. I flew this flight the other day, not this exact flight, but I flew into Victoria the other day, and the approach was not picked up. And there's the runway right there. I think I had said earlier it was over here. My apologies. It's obviously there. That's the runway we're landing on. So these are the waypoints going in. See if we turn. Doesn't look like we're going to. I don't know why it's not capturing this. So, off autopilot. Let's do it ourselves. We should be descending. So right here, the speed bug. Right there. So, landing lights on. And we're going to fly this in. Partly visual, but I'm also going to be using the instruments, looking at the localizer line, looking at the glide slope. So I've got to descend until this gets into the center. And by the way, the C-172 does not have retractable gear, so that's why you didn't hear me call out for gear up or gear down. Just looking at the wind indicator here, looks like it's just about head on into us, which is good. Makes life a little easier. Set the heading bug, just in case we have to go around and I need to set the autopilot on. We won't be making a quick left turn. So you can see the glide slope. It's getting close to center line, which is good. Don't need to descend too quickly. I'm a little bit to the right. I'll pull back just a bit. You don't need to make jerky motions when flying. It's actually bad to do so. There we go. So I want to get full flaps. Pushing those down. Just confirm that they went down. There they are. Let's go back here. Our landing speed will be between 60 and 70 knots. So I've been pulling back on the throttle. Two reasons. That helps you to descend, but it obviously helps you to slow down. So we're getting a little low. Well, we're right on now. I was going to say if we were low, I'd give it a bit of throttle. That would help us go up. We're looking good. Certainly seems like we're just floating in here. Interesting, no planes today.
500.
If there were, we would have to slot in. And Victoria does have jets going in, small jets, but we'd have to slot in with them and watch for wake turbulence. Which means we'd have to keep our distance at least 4 nautical miles, maybe more. If we're on air traffic control, they would actually be guiding us. So a little high, been doing a little sightseeing, looking left and right myself. That's okay. You don't want to be jerky. You don't need to get down on the glide slope. You can see we've got plenty of runway right down the center line. 67 knots, that's good. Yeah, there we are, over the threshold. Pull back on the throttle. And just place her down gently. Here we go. Brakes. Can we stop in time? Yes, we can. Be careful we don't flip her over. But okay, flaps up. And landing lights off. Taxi on. Strobe off. I'm going to park over here. So left and right. No planes. Make sure that, yeah, flaps are coming up. A little bit of speed here. So it's very interesting flying when we have full ATC. Everything as it is in real life. Lots to do, but interesting, fun, keeps you occupied. So we're going to park on the other side of this blue plane. Right there. This parking space here. Brakes. There we are. Maybe a little bit too far, but okay. Set parking brake. Parking brake set. Avionics off. Mixture off. And I'll actually cut the engine. You'll see the prop stop. There we go. The warnings come on. Mags off. All the lights off. And power off. That's it. We can get under your seatbelt, open the door, and I'll meet you outside. Well, there we are in Victoria. Nice little VFR flight today. A beautiful day. Not too bumpy. I hope you enjoyed that. And until next time, when you can sit in the right seat again for me, take care. Bye.